We've got Anaheim Ducks memes joining us today. And with the rumors of Chris Kreider breaking out, we've got a lot to talk about. That and more on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome, everydayers. Thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Kyle Carr. I'm a lifelong Anaheim Ducks fan, and I've spent multiple years covering collegiate sports, including college hockey. But today we are talking about the Anaheim Ducks, and I have got a special guest that's going to be joining me today. He is the man behind the memes, Anaheim Ducks memes, that is, and I am pleased to welcome in Colby Neeley of Anaheim Ducks memes. Hello, Colby. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Thank you for joining us. It's quite the crazy day after yesterday's rumors started breaking out.
That's for sure. And it's getting also, it's not really getting crazier because it's just it's dead now. But
yeah, there's a lot of rumblings, and it was just kind of like, well, we'll talk about it tomorrow. But I would love to get into the Chris Kreider trade, and also I want to talk about some ideas of where you feel like the team's going and everything. But really jumping into the Chris Kreider trade, what are your thoughts? What were you doing when you found out about it? Like, how did that come to you?
Yeah, well, actually, I just pulled up to my rink for my beer league game. And I get
beer league.
I get a tweet that it's like the Ducks and Chris Kreider are working on a trade, and I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, this isn't going to go well. Like, who are we going to have to give up? And then a couple minutes later, it's like it's rumored that they're going to give up a prospect and a pick, and I'm like, please don't be one of our top prospects. And then I'm like, well, I got to go play my game. Let's hope something like crazy doesn't happen. But came back, and yeah, it's I'm fine with how it's the direction it's going.
What are your thoughts of having Chris Kreider on Anaheim? Are you in for that? Are you kind of like questionable? What do you think?
I'm 50-50 for the most part, but maybe kind of 60-40. The 60 part, I'm happy for it because him and Zegras are such good buddies. And they do that shoulder check tournament every summer. And I think that with Zegras having that type of mentorship on the team, hopefully it can bring him back to the performer that he was. But the 40% that I'm kind of iffy about, I mean, he's 34 years old. He had a rough season, but I'm kind of lenient and I'm kind of letting it slide because the Rangers in general just kind of fell apart last season.
We got their captain out of it.
Yeah. We got their captain, and now we're getting one of their stars, essentially. I mean, I don't know if he's really their star player at the moment, but.
Do you think he's going to be able to get back to that kind of 50, 60-point prowess that he had before? Or do you think he's going to be more of a veteran voice just to help round out this team?
Man, I would really love for him to be able to go back to being one of those high-scoring wingers because that would really propel the Ducks forward with the direction that we want to go. But it's kind of iffy because just his injury history, if he's not able to fully come back, I don't know. So I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm hoping that maybe if we get him on a line, what I saw that I was like, well, that could work. If we put left wing him, move Zegras back to center, and then maybe somehow break up the Terry line and put Terry on right wing. That line, I mean, maybe that's just me, but that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think it is interesting to me because I feel like McTavish and Zegras really started to get a connection at the end of the season. Yeah. And it would be nice to have a little bit more center in depth in center positions. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see like if Zegras going back to center will actually help or what his role could do, because we kind of talked about that when we were all together on Royally Quacked. It was like Zegras isn't the strongest guy, but if he has a mentor or motivator like Kreider in the room, do you think that's going to help him kind of lock that down?
Yeah, I mean, I can only hope. I mean, we have my Zegras jersey up here.
Yeah.
I'm a big supporter of this man, and I always will be. So I want to say that having Kreider is just going to boost the morale of Zegras and just of the team. We're getting some good veterans, and having that veteran presence, hopefully it can not just mentor one player, but all of our young guys. Be like, this guy was a legend for New York. Let's see what he can bring to the table for him.
Well, and him being a teammate of Jacob Trouba, I feel like could help kind of rekindle the positives, because it sounds like New York was just a chaotic place at the end of the 2 seasons ago and then this last season. So I feel like you got Ryan Strome now, Frank Vetrano, Jacob Trouba, and Chris Kreider. We're basically the New York Rangers light.
I know. We're literally, that's what we're becoming.
But I feel like getting guys that are teammates and playing together, it's kind of like the Florida effect, at least I'm hoping, where you get a lot of guys that were teammates together. They leave kind of a tough situation, go to Florida, they loosen up, they get to become like this new version of themselves. That's what I'm hoping with Kreider coming, is like these Rangers guys can kind of get a new wave of energy and excitement.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for too, because it was kind of iffy, like we talked about with Trouba when he came to Anaheim at first. It's like he's kind of a shell of his old self from New York. So I'm hoping that Kreider on the team, they can really bond as the old New York guys and get things going.
And be out of that city.
Yeah.
Come out to the beaches where you can actually swim.
Yeah.
But looking at kind of the trade, at least what I've seen around the rumor mill, it looks like Carey Terrence is going to be the prospect going back. And it's kind of confusing the way they worded it, because it said Carey Terrence, the prospect, and second-round draft pick, but he was a second-round pick. So I don't know if they're saying they're also giving up a pick or just Carey Terrence. But looking at his kind of stats, he played for the Erie Otters. He's the captain this last season. He had 39 goals in 45 games. Left shot center, 6'1", 187. To me, it sounds like an absolute steal for Anaheim if that's all New York's wanting back.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Terrence's game, but I mean, you really even have a future with the Ducks prospect pool in the first place, or are we really losing anyone? Do you know more about him?
I don't want to like be too mean, because I loved him when he played for Team USA in the juniors. He's a legend. Every time he scored or got an assist, I'm like, yeah, that's our Ducks guy. But realistically, I don't think he'd even get a sniff at the NHL.
Yeah.
And if he did, he'd be a fourth liner at best. So I think we really are kind of fleecing New York with this. Granted, we are taking on Kreider's full contract, but with the cap going up and everything, it's not really going to be an issue for us.
Yeah. We're still, I think, even after adding his contract, we'd still be the third highest cap space in the league. So not too much sorrow there.
Yeah.
So I guess all in consensus, if we do go through with the trade, and it sounds like Kreider's willing to waive his no move clause to come to Anaheim, it's just more of a crossing the T's, dotting the I's, doing his due diligence.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to it if it goes through. And it sounds like you're on board the not the Trouba train, but the Kreider train now.
Yeah, I'm on board for the Kreider train.
All right. Well, before we get into the rest of this, I got to read some of our sponsors here that help Locked On Ducks do their thing. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about some in and out, who's coming in, who's coming out, and more of that after this. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you, unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. We were talking about going to beer league. My personal favorite is to get the no shells variety of Wonderful Pistachios in between work and games. When you got to run to a late game, grab a handful of those. You get your protein, you get your better for you unsaturated fats, and it gets you right through all 60 minutes of the game. So make sure you get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. So, Colby, coming back now, I have the roster right here in front of me of current Anaheim Ducks, and we're going to kind of just do this slightly rapid fire. I'm going to say the name, and you're going to tell me they're in or they're out.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Simple.
This first one, I'm really challenging you on this. Leo Carlson.
Oh, in.
Lukas Dostal.
In.
Cutter Gautier.
In.
John Gibson.
I'll say in.
Okay. Radko Gudas.
He's got one more year on the contract. I'll say in. Maybe not for the whole season.
Yeah, I could see him being a deadline piece. Jansen Harkins.
Out.
Okay. Drew Hellison.
In.
I like him. Ross Johnston.
Out.
Buy out.
Yeah.
Alex Killorn.
In.
Oliver Chillington.
Out.
Okay. AKA did not report.
Yeah.
Jackson Lacombe.
In.
Brett Leeson.
Man, that's tough. His contract is up after this season too, so it's kind of. I'll say in with the possibility of out.
Okay.
I know that's not really a set answer, but
this one is on the fence already, but Isaac Lundestrom.
Out.
Do you think they're going to do a sign and trade or more of a just let him go to free agency?
I think more just letting him go to free agency. He's too injury prone, and he's not really the big body that we need for our bottom six to produce.
That's kind of my thoughts too. Not really the strongest center that with what's comparable out there in the league.
Yeah.
Mason McTavish.
In.
Pavel Minchikov.
In.
Ian Moore.
Excuse the pun, but I'd love to see more of Ian Moore.
Absolutely. Show me more. I'm in. Ryan Strome.
In.
Troy Terry.
In.
Jacob Trouba.
In.
Frank Vetrano.
In.
Tim Wash.
It's kind of tough. It really just depends on how his preseason is going to go. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because I did like what I saw the last. I don't know. I think he played like 2 or 3 games, if that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say in.
That was a really interesting one for me too, because like I don't know. I'm not the biggest on knowing the ins and outs of the business side of the NHL. But it's really weird that they gave him a 1-year contract and had him play the 2 games. So I'm like, because now he's an RFA, is it just a way for kind of Anaheim to not have to pay as much for an ECL? Like they can just give him that bridge right away?
I think that's it. And if I'm not wrong, I think we were about to lose the rights to his contract. And so it was kind of, do we want to give him the full entry level, or do we just want to give him a 1-year figure things out type of thing?
Yeah. Kind of give a little extension to the paying of the bill. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I liked what I saw, and I think he would be a good addition to the team if he proves himself. At least he'll be good down in San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
And our man, Trevor Zegras.
In.
And then Olin Zellweger.
In.
One that wasn't really on this list, but is kind of in the air as a UFA is Ville Husso. What are your thoughts?
I don't really say anything about Gibby, But man, if we do trade Gibby, if that ever happens, I know some people are very team Gibby, ride or die for him. But
Mhm.
man, every game, I mean, Huso probably played like 2 full games. I think that's what we
Yeah.
discussed. But I mean, he stood on his head every game. I loved what I saw, and I'd be fine if we kept him full time.
Yeah. I thought he proved himself pretty well down in San Diego as well. Not really giving up too terrible
Yeah,
of chances, and he kind of locked it down there. So
yeah,
I think it would be, especially with the question mark of Gibson, it would be kind of ridiculous for them not to bring Billy Huso back,
yeah,
depending if he wants it.
yeah. And I think we've had some goaltending issues this year, even in the minor leagues. We had Thomas tore his ACL, and he's kind of like
Mhm.
our young rising goalie that we're like, him and Dostal would be amazing together. So it's nice to have a backup for the AHL and for the Ducks if worst case
Yeah.
scenario.
Because the one guy, I can never say his name right. It's like Buskidnov or something. He's the
Yeah, I know,
ECHL
I know
Tulsa
who you're
guy.
talking about.
He
I
was
can't
kind
say
of
it
rough when
either.
he came up. When he came up to the goals, he was like a Swiss cheese out there. So
Yeah,
but they definitely need a little bit more depth, at least for San Diego to help. Because you got good goaltending in
yeah,
that league, then you're gonna have guys develop well as well.
exactly.
Well, that is the roster for in and out. But now, kind of want to pick your brain. Are there players that you're hoping Anaheim targets, whether it's free agency or trade? Like, what's your vision if you were Pat Verbeek right now?
Man, I know a lot of Ducks fans are really divided on Mitch Marner, but I'm 100% for him. If I was
Mhm.
Verbeek, I'd go and I'd say, "Hey, Mitch, what can we do to get you here? We'll give you a million over what you get." I know with California taxes that may not impact the contract as much, but I'd be a high bidder for Mitch, Sam Bennett, even. I don't know. I
Mm.
think he's in the midst, from what I saw in a tweet, that he's working on a contract extension with Florida, but he's had a killer season, killer playoff that run. And I'm just like, man, he'd be a solid guy, but it's kind of tough because as long as I've followed the Ducks, I mean, I'll say this loosely because we have had star players, but we're not really a star team, where we have
Yeah.
one all-star player that everyone's like, this guy's amazing. I mean, we've had Solane and everyone, but we're kind of a whole team effort. It's pass, shoot, score. It's not just go breakaway score. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's it's a really interesting free agent pool this
Mhm.
summer that there's not a lot of really big names that can really impact a team in the way that other summers could. So I don't know. I'm If we can get a top 6 forward like Verbeek has been wanting all along, I'd love it. But
Yeah.
it just kind of depends on. I'm really iffy about contracts for our young guys because we have a lot that we need to sign, and I don't want Verbeek to lowball or hardball them and take them all the way up to preseason like we did with Zegras 2 years ago. And it's like he did not
Well,
practice
hello,
with us.
puppers. Yeah, it's definitely interesting with the free agency. I mean, there's Nikolai Ehlers that's out there as a name, Brock Besser, Mitch Marner, like you said, Sam Bennett, but it does sound like Florida is kind of, I mean, when you're Sam Bennett, why would you want to leave that group? Like,
I know,
they're all
right?
just a bunch of clones of him.
Especially if you go back to back.
Yeah,
You just
that'd
got
be
to run it
crazy.
back again for a third year.
They could probably be the next three-peat team since the Islanders, so I could
Yeah.
see that happening. I
Yeah.
thought it was gonna be Tampa, but that didn't happen.
I know.
But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting with free agency, but like you said, there's with the depth and the prospect pool coming up. I don't want us to kind of tie our hands behind our back when it comes to finally giving these guys the
Yeah.
money and having to lose because that's kind of seems to be the Ducks curse. Like we we have all these guys that we develop and create into great players, but then we get kind of locked up on salary or cap and everything. And then all of a sudden we got to move these guys out to make space, and then they become Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah, I know.
Without us.
Yeah. And I don't want us to have another logjam situation. Our defense was stunted this past season because we had too many guys that we were just constantly sitting, rotating. And if we end up keeping a lot of our forwards who maybe shouldn't get contracts, and then we get more free agents, it's like, well, our young prospects are just going to be slumming it down in San Diego,
Right. Like we finally got a glimpse of Sam Colangelo and Nikita Nesterenko. And it's like, are we going to just bop them back down to San Diego if we bring people in? Like, what's going to happen to those guys?
Exactly.
What about Patrick Kane? Are you in on the Patrick Kane game?
He's one of them. He's showtime, How can you not love him? This may be a hot take. I think he's a little past his prime. But I don't know. He's another one that he's literally Zegras' idol, I think he's probably everyone's idol. It's Patrick Kane,
right?
But
he's the man, especially for Americans.
Yeah, he's an all-time great, but I don't know. He's one of them that I'm like, do we really want to throw money at him? He's aging. He's not that he hasn't done much, but he hasn't done a whole lot recently to really make me go, wow, we need to sign him. I know last season, Patrick Laine, man, if the Ducks somehow swung him, I was iffy about it. I'm like, do we really want him? He's injury prone. And then he came out, and I'm like, foot in my mouth, man. Never let
Montreal was like a different team.
Yeah, it's insane. So I don't want to speak too bad on players that I think are old and aging, because they always prove me wrong,
Absolutely. Well, before we get into anything further, we're going to take a little break, and then we'll talk about kind of just some expectations and what your ideas of what next year is going to look like.
Okay.
All right. So now looking at the year coming up, kind of a it's very interesting with the new coach and the new vibe around the team. What are some of your expectations for next season? Are they high? Are they low? What are your thoughts?
I have really high expectations for this season, just because, I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel from the rebuild, that we got so close to the playoffs. Granted, the Blues just went on a generational run where they just didn't lose any games. But
they drive me nuts.
I really think that our guys are coming back healthy. We have a new coach who's the second winningest coach in all of the NHL. I think, man, we have a real shot here. If we can get a good special teams going and get the boys buzzing on the the power play and the penalty kill. I get them mixed up.
I know. I put them together all the time.
I really think that we have a good shot at making a run for the playoffs. And I think, I don't know, it's tough. We have Zegras, as long as he stays healthy. Cutter, he's flowing. He's buzzing now. Leo, I mean, I don't know. I think Q is going to bring a lot of structure and accountability that we haven't really seen a lot for the team. It's kind of bench one young guy for a mistake, and then a veteran's out there making the same mistake and nothing happens. Yeah. So I'm hoping the guys like the coach, so that's good for me. If they were iffy about it, I'd feel iffy, but I don't know. I have high hopes, and I think, man, I'd love to see Beckett get a shot this season.
Yes.
Maybe towards the end. I don't know. He's in an interesting situation. He's too young for the AHL, so he won't go. But does he really want to stay another year with Oshawa, where he's just ripping it up and doesn't really have much competition?
Yeah, it's almost, you're hurting the development at that point.
Yeah. It's like, do we give him the load management that we gave Leo his first year? I don't know.
Which that was a pretty interesting approach that Verbeek had. And
yeah,
like I was doing the look because I talked about that a few episodes ago, and it was like I remember Verbeek mentioning at the migration thing saying, well, we came up with that because I just realized how tired he was. Like he played a lot of hockey. And I was like, well, what's a lot of hockey? That dude played 100 games.
yeah,
100 against men too, like not juniors,
yeah,
like straight up Swedish league internationals. Like,
yeah,
oh my goodness. Carlson was ripping it, but yeah, I feel like with Beckett, it really depends on his camp.
yeah.
And from what I saw out of him out of this year at with Oshawa, it just seemed like he was a man amongst boys.
Yeah, and it seemed like that even when I know that his team didn't make it all the way, but you'd see highlights of him like every week of him doing something crazy, and everyone's like, "Wow, maybe Anaheim wasn't wrong for this pick."
I mean, he was showing up against big teams too.
Yeah, even against other really good draft picks. You're like, "Wow, this is insane what he's doing." It's getting me excited. Like,
yeah,
I want to see him on the ice, man.
The biggest thing that made me excited was watching him actually like move from space to space and take the soft areas and like always just adjusting where he was. And I felt like that was one thing the Ducks were lacking so much last year was movement. It was just such a static approach. It was like, oh, we're doing this again? Come on.
yeah. It was all kind of same old. No one learned from their mistakes. It was, we're going to go right back to this.
Yeah, this looks like a good idea. And I think that just showed how inexperienced and just not at the caliber we needed for coaching we had, because like we were talking about that on the Royally Quacked, and it was like there was never line changes in the game. There was never like adjustments made. The penalty kill never changed. The power play never changed. It was just so rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it looks good on paper, so we're going to leave it. Doesn't matter if it doesn't look good on the ice.
Exactly. So speaking of, who are you looking to have a great season next year? Like, who's going to be the guy in your mind next year?
Man, it's hard to be unbiased, but I want to say Cutter. I really think he turned it on the last half of the season. And I think if he can start how he ended, man, he'll easily get 40-plus goals under this system, as long as it goes how I'm expecting it to. But I can also, if we give guys like Sam Colangelo another shot and he plays, I can see him having a breakout season.
Absolutely. Sam Colangelo, Cutter Gautier. I see Leo Carlson, kind of both of them feeding each other if they stay together.
A solid
I see them
connection.
really, just bopping each other off, and then trying to stay positive, but also, we got to be realistic. What are you most concerned about next year?
I don't know how I can't be concerned about our defense. Our blue line has been rough for few seasons recently, that it's goaltending has been keeping us in games, and I don't see Gibby being our starter anymore. I think Dostal has really earned his spot. So I see him being our starter. I don't want him to get burned out. So I'm really hoping that our defense is showing up in these games, and it's not Lacombe covering for Gudis every game.
The Lacombe show every night.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a little more spread out.
Hopefully.
Well, that's pretty much all we have for today. I do want to ask though, like, how did you get started with doing the memes? Like, what kind of sparked it, and where can people get a hold of you?
Man, I don't even know really how I started it. I think I started it as a fan page for a player, and then I started making memes because I saw other people making memes, and I'm like, wow, this is really funny. And we don't really have an account for the Ducks that does that. So why not, And then it's been this October, season starts, it'll be 2 years. So it's crazy.
Nice.
I've done it for this long, and it's still enjoyable.
Yes.
But
who's been your favorite to meme?
Oh, yeah. Man, it's so much fun. I've met so many great people. I've had so many great opportunities doing it that I'm like, people really care this much about a meme page? It's kind of crazy. But I'm on Instagram. I'm on X with the username Anaheim Ducks memes. You can find me there. I'll always be there.
Heck yeah. Well, we're excited, and I know you're kind of out of state right now, but hopefully we'll be seeing you around the Honda Center and catching up on some wins this next season.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It was really awesome having you. And for everyone else out there, you can find Locked On Ducks on social as well. And if you have any questions, go to cartalksports.com/connect. That's KJER talksports.com/connect. Send me your questions, comments, and if you have any other responses to the ins and outs that we talked about today, let me know. But also, thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night, until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Go like and subscribe to the YouTube for Locked On Ducks as well. And as always, I'm Kyle Carr. Be good out there.